So is there any difference between this G here and this G, and then this C and this C? I'm gonna show you here in a minute. All right, so I was when I was just learning how to play, like I learned the C9, the C add 9, and I would always be confused because sometimes I would see people playing the C add 9 like this without putting that pointer finger on there, and then also I would see, like I was taught, well, once I started to figure out the chords and stuff, I was kind of taught that this is the normal G chord, but then I would see people doing this. I'm like, why are they doing that? What is going on? Am I playing the wrong chords? And somebody just asked me a couple weeks ago. I've had a couple of questions about, you know, why is my pointer finger not on the C add 9 and the G? So I'm gonna tell you why. I'm just gonna break it down for you. It's totally a preference thing. So this is just your regular full G. If you take your pointer finger off and you mute that A string with your middle finger, that's called a G5. So technically that chord name is a G5. For this C add 9, we got the pointer finger on there. If we take it off, we mute that D string with our middle finger. That's just a C5. So really you can play either one. It's a total preference thing. I guess I'll just give you a little rationale and reasoning on sometimes why I will just kind of do this, and sometimes why I'll do the full C add 9 and the full G. So it really just totally depends on if you want to have a more full sound. Because really what you're doing, the only thing you're doing, you're adding in that note to the C. And for the G, you're just adding in that note there. So obviously, you know, if you play this, regular G, sounds great. If you play this, you're just adding in that one note. So it's not gonna make or break anything. So if you show up to worship practice or rehearsal and you're playing, you know, this G or this G, the worship leader is not going to be like, hey, why are you playing that G? You know, make sure you're playing it like this or like this. Same thing with the C. I mean, you're getting the same chord, you're just adding in an additional note. So don't be like worried that, you know, if you're practicing or you're going to be playing for the first time on worship team, like you know, the worship leader might, you know, get mad at me or might question what C I'm using. They're the same thing. They're basically the same thing. The way I go about figuring out whether I want to play the full C or that C or a full G or that G5, it just totally depends on the song. So you'll see in my lessons, I do both. Sometimes I'll do the regular G, sometimes I'll just do that G5. It totally depends on the song. So for example, two songs that come to my mind where I always like to make sure I'm playing the full G and the full C add 9 is Goodness of God by Bethel, and then also Hillsong, Good Grace. So for the Bethel song, Goodness of God, it has that really open feel and that open sound, right? So it's like, so I'm trying to remember the lyrics. I love you, Lord. You have led me through the fire in darkest night. So for that song, I always play it with the full G and the full C at 9. Just because it sounds fuller. And if you play it this way, like the G5 and the C5, it's not gonna make it sound bad. You're not gonna be doing anything wrong. It's gonna still sound fine. I love you, Lord. You have led me through the fire in darkest nights. So, I mean, it still sounds fine. It's still gonna be very okay and very doable for playing. But, you know, I like some of the songs to be able to have that additional note in there. And especially when I'm doing like hammer-ons and pull-offs. You obviously need that note in there to be able to execute the hammer-on and the pull-off. So, and then Good Grace, the other one. It's the G, C, G, so again, it's just a preference thing where you're able to, it sounds a little bit more full by adding in just that note there for the G and then that note there for the C. So again, would it sound perfectly fine if I just played this G5 and this C5? Yeah. Sounds perfectly fine. Again, just kind of a preference thing. So, yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of other songs that I could do that, you know, you can do it either way. Another thing, when I am finger picking, I will usually always keep for my C at 9, I'll usually always keep that pointer finger on there. So I'll usually never do like this C5 because with the C at 9, you're usually always going to be picking that D string with your thumb. So, you know, if you're muting it, like this C5, you obviously don't want to do that because you're just going to be plucking a muted string, which makes no sense. So when I'm finger picking songs, I'm always using a C at 9, a full C at 9. And then like with this G, you usually like never really, when you're playing the G and you're finger picking it, I don't know the last time I would have ever used my thumb to pick the A string. Like it's always my thumb is going from the bass note to that D string. So for this one, it really doesn't matter if you have your pointer finger on there or not, because you're not using it. So I think a lot of times when I'm finger picking, I don't even think about it. It's just, I'm usually just going like with this G here because I'm not picking that A string. So kind of those basic patterns I teach, finger picking, you know. You're not, for that G chord, you're not even going anywhere really near that A string, so you might as well just mute it or put your pointer there. It doesn't matter. So yeah, a little breakdown as to the difference between those two chords. They're the same chord. They're just, again, you're just adding the one note, the one string in there for the C and the G. So hopefully that maybe provides some clarity for you. I know for a while when I was just in my younger days playing, I didn't know what was going on. Again, I would always be like, why are they playing that with, you know, without the full C at 9, or why are they playing that without the full G chord? So now you know, no major difference, just you're adding in the one additional note for each chord. So, all right guys, hope that helps you out. Catch you guys in the next one.